they do bring McDonald down. It seems like. I wonder how you feel like the way your line matches up with them. Particularly, you got some athletic young tackles of your own now in Johnstone and Fisher. And how you feel like they might impact that matchup? I mean, you guys move their feet pretty well at your tackle spots.
That's why we're playing. We'll see. I'm not a prediction guy or ain't going to say anything from, that I think this matches up or that matches up. We'll see. Haven't seen those guys in person, but, they're doing the same things defensively they've done for a while since Monty's been there. It's a very sound scheme. TJ was down a lot last year against us. That part hasn't changed. That's part of one of their base tenets, and they're going to try to stop the run, and obviously they do a really good job at it.
Fair to say you got a more athletic set of tackles as you go into the matchup?
Who were their tackles last year? Weems and Asper? They're about, they're the same.
Dirk.
Coach, how important is their play-action pass game to what they want to do on offense?
Everything's important. There's not one that's different. We got to stop their play-action pass. Got to stop their quick game. Got to stop their screen game. We got to stop their drop-back game. It's a diverse offense, so there's not one thing where, I think Lane does such a good job of making sure that you have to defend the entire field and defend the entire package. They run a lot of plays. They run a lot of formations. There's a lot of motions. There's a lot of shifts. They do a lot of things to try to confuse you at the snap. So there's not one aspect where we can say, hey, let's not worry about this. They do everything really well, and they've got great personnel to start, but they also got a pretty good scheme for that personnel to execute.
Along the same lines a little bit, the fact that your cornerbacks have much more experience than they had last year, how much do you think that's going to help them this time around?
Again, I'm not into predictions, but we'll see. If we do a good job defensively, then yeah, the experience helped. But if they go out and put 38 on the board on us, then the experience didn't help. So,
Patrick, I'm going to the phone. So questions for Coach Kelly, those waiting on the telephone. If you have a question, please press *1 on your telephone keypad.
Our first question comes from Eric Woodyard from Flint Journal.
How you doing, Coach Kelly?
Great.
Okay, I'm calling from Flint, Michigan. I was doing a little research on you, and I was saying that you were actually born in Flint, Michigan. Is that true?
Nope. I've never been to Flint, Michigan. We got one of our interns, Todd Light's a Flint, Michigan guy.
Okay. Yeah, well, I don't know where we got the research from, but I was just calling to see if that was consistent or if you had any ties to the city of Flint, because I don't know where people got that, so I'm on the internet then.
We got Todd Light on our staff. He's a great player, played at Notre Dame.
Next question, Patrick.
Next question is from Will Laws, Daily Trojan.
Hey, Coach Kelly. As you know, D'Anthony was committed to USC before recommitting to you guys. What do you think you and your staff were able to do to convince him to come to Eugene? What was his recruitment like?
Just he contacted us in the last week of the recruiting process, and he came in here for the last weekend for a visit. And, like every recruit we have, we just, kind of show him what our school's about and what we have to offer. And then he made a decision to come here. I don't think it was any great, it was more of him making a decision on what he thought was best for him than anything else.
Any more questions, Patrick? Please press *1.
There are no audio questions at this time.
Okay, we'll go back to questions from here. Please raise your hand. Rick Morgan.
Just from the historic aspect of the LA Coliseum. I mean, I know that you're an in-moment kind of guy, but does that mean anything to you, the legacy of being in that venue where all the Olympics and all of those things came about? Does that provide any excitement to you?
It's cool. I like going to new stadiums. I mean, I love going to Tennessee, love playing, in the Rose Bowl. There's been a certain places. It was fun in 2007 when we went out to Michigan. I've always enjoyed Washington Husky Stadium. But once you kick it off, you're not thinking about who's been there before you or any of that stuff. So,
Molly.
Away from football, if you've been keeping track of the Superstorm Sandy, and if any of your East Coast family, everybody's all right?
They're all right. I talked to them this morning. They lost power for a little bit, but they're okay. They didn't get, I think it hit New Jersey and New York a little bit harder than it did New England, so they're good.
Rob?
the makeup of their defense. Bailey at linebacker, I think, is a guy who's played some safety. Their two tackles go about 270. You know, they're not big 300-pound tackles. Have they changed personnel-wise? I mean, are they constructed differently personnel-wise than they have been in years past?
I don't know. I think that's what Monty's always kind of played with in his system. So I think they're recruiting to his system. Is it different than what Pete was doing? I think Pete's guys were a little bit bigger.
Warren.
Chip, another big road game, another big environment, probably arguably the biggest environment as far as the stadium size. How's Marcus handling that? And his first visit to Los Angeles is still the same, cool breeze?
We haven't been there yet, so I can't answer the question. So I don't know how he's handled it.
In preparation, though, going there.
I mean, we're in the Mashofsky Center, so it's not very close in preparation to the big environment and all those other things. We do the same things we do every Monday and every Tuesday. So how he handles L.A., I don't know. We haven't been to L.A.
Steve.
Coach, do you get the sense that you have a lot of players that are from Southern California, but do you get the sense that your players on the roster, are they looking at this game as being something special? And if so, do you do anything to keep their emotions getting too high or too low?
I get the sense with this group, to be honest with you, that every game is really special, you know, and that's the great thing about them. And just because you're from somewhere doesn't shouldn't give an indication. You know, you get a chance to play a nationally ranked team at their place. You know, that's enough. Whether we were going to go play somewhere on the East Coast or somewhere on the West Coast, I think that's the important factor in what we're dealing with. So, and that's the great thing about this team. I think it's a real consistent team. So,
Eric.
It definitely seems like they're all treating this exactly the same. We've talked about that a lot. But
does that bother you?
Well, a little bit.
Okay.
But
I mean,
how do you get them,
I'm excited about them treating it everything the same, to be honest with you. So.
How do you get them to buy in so quickly? I mean, some of these kids come in, they're 18, 19 years old, and when you're in high school, you look at rankings, you look at standings, you look at all that. How do you get them to buy in so quickly?
I think it's really simple. I mean, every game counts. The playoffs started in college football on the first game of the season, and when you lose, you're done. I mean, look who tumbles and goes. I mean, that's not hard for our guys to figure that part out. And if you want to, you know, have a vision of what you want to get done and what you want to get accomplished, then you better take each game like it's a Super Bowl. So, I mean, to us, it's a real simple formula. I don't understand why people look at it differently. You know, no matter who you are. You know, Florida lost. They bounced out. You know, and they lost to a one-loss Georgia team who bounced out. All those one-loss teams are hoping the undefeated teams lose so they can bounce back in. But once you lose, you take it out of your own hands. So, I mean, I think it's a very, very, very simple formula, so that's not very difficult. I think we got kids that are intelligent enough to understand that. If you lose, you're in someone else's hands. If you can take care of business and pick your head up in December and you've taken care of business, then probably good things are going to happen to you. So.
Rick?
I was going to ask at this point in the season, what are you happiest with about your team, and what do you think is the area where they still need to find some improvement?
Oh, area of improvement for everybody is everything. I mean, we'll never arrive, and that's the key, is to never think you have arrived. But you know, the one thing I am happy with is our consistency and is our approach and what our mental makeup and how we are in terms of the importance of everything we do, and that it's on the line every time you step on the practice field. It's on the line every time you step in a game. You know, I think those kids have really embraced that philosophy.
Patrick, going back to the phone one more time. Are there any questions? Please press *1 if you have a question.
And at this time, there is one question in queue from Pedro Muir from ESPNLA.com.
Hey, Chip, are you surprised? I mean, when you talk about the fact that if you lose, you put yourself out of the race, are you surprised then that USC has 2 losses at this point in the season? I mean, with the talent that they have on their roster and all that, for them to be 6-2 at this point of the year?
I'm not surprised at anything that happens in college football. You look around each week, and it's very difficult to stay unscathed. And you know, Stanford's a good football team. I've seen Arizona, and I know offensively they're very explosive. We were very, very scared of Matt Scott. You know, I think the difference in our game and in their game is that Matt got banged up a little bit early against us, and so he wasn't the same. We knew going in what a talented player Matt Scott was. So, not really surprised one way or the other.
Any more questions, Patrick?
There are no questions at this time.
Any final questions here? Final thoughts? I take that as a no. Thank